Hello Stampin' friends. My name is Ayana Johnston and I'm a new Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I want to show you how to make this Stampin' Up! Sprinkles on Top Cupcake birthday card. You can get the supply list for this card on my blog at www.checkthisout.stampinup.net. And don't miss out on my new customer first order special. You'll get a $10 check in the mail from me with a minimum purchase order of $100 retail. You must place your order on or before September 15th, 2015. Okay, let's get started making this card. For today's card, we're going to use two stamp sets. Today we're going to use the Sprinkles of Life stamp set. And in this stamp set, it's so versatile. You can make trees, cupcakes, ice cream cones. I love it. Today we're going to use this cloud, but we're going to use it as a cupcake topper. We're going to use this cupcake bottom, as well as this sentiment and the sprinkles on top. We're also going to use the tin of cards for another little sentiment greeting on the top of the card. We're going to use the happy and the birthday right here. We're also going to need some inks for this card. We're going to be using Cucumber Crush, Watermelon Wonder, and Delightful Dijon. So let's get started making this card. You're also going to need some beautiful pieces of paper. For today's card, we're going to use Cucumber Crush, cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to need a piece of Delightful Dijon, cut at 4 1/4 by 5. And you're also going to need 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock. Both these pieces need to be cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then you're going to want to use a piece of the designer paper, the designer series cherry on top piece of paper. I chose the balloons for my happy birthday theme, and you're going to want to cut this at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Make sure you cut it horizontally so you see the balloons going across the long side of the piece of paper. We're going to take the scraps from this piece of paper and cut some very thin strips to use as borders and some extra decoration. We're going to want to go ahead and cut one piece of paper, one thin strip. You're going to cut that at 1/2 inch by 4 inches. You need 2 of those. Then you're going to cut some really thin strips. You're going to cut them at 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. You'll see this on the front of our card. So those are all the pieces you need to get started. You also actually do need a quick piece of scrap paper to cut out your cupcake topper. So let's get started making the card. The first thing we want to do is take our piece of Delightful Dijon and cut out our border. What I did in the interest of saving time is I already pre-cut the border, but what you'll need to make the border are the framelit deco labels. You'll need the size 2 and 3 in the deco labels. You're going to want to line these up on your Delightful Dijon piece of paper, putting the smaller one inside and centering it. And then all you're going to want to do is just run this through your Big Shot. And then you're going to get a beautiful border with some extra scrap pieces of paper. We're going to use this scrap, so save this. I'm going to set aside my border for when we're ready to piece that together. Next, you're going to want to cut out a deco framelit just in the center of your designer series balloon paper. So I'm going to run to my Big Shot. I'm going to cut this out real quick. I'll be right back. That was fast, and I love videos because be right back means, I don't know, a split second. Now we're going to go ahead. We have a nice little scrap piece of paper. You can save and use that for whenever you'd like. I've got my top of my card inside frame that I made. And I'm going to set this scrap aside. And I'm going to put these deco labels aside because I'm all done with those for now. Now what I want to do is tape my border or glue my border on the outside here. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly glue this border right along the outside of this frame that I just cut out with my Big Shot. And I'm going to adhere that right down in the center here, so I don't see any of the birthday balloons in the background there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab some more glue, and I'm going to adhere some Dazzling Diamond Glitter, because that's really what gave it some quick sparkle. Hopefully I didn't get my head in the video there. But I want to go ahead and get that all around. And hopefully I didn't glue too much outside the lines. But if I did, it's okay because it adds a nice look to my card. And it actually tones down the look of the Delightful Dijon. It adds a nice sparkle to your card. You don't see so much bright yellow because the glitter is taking all that space. There you have a nice sparkling glitter piece of paper for our top of our card. Just trying to get off some of that excess paper or excess glitter. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this right back in my container. So I can use that another time because I love these dazzling diamonds. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my piece of Cucumber Crush. I'm going to fold it on my score line. And I'm going to just use my fingers. A lot of you like to use bone folders. I do too. But for today's video, for saving time's sake, I'm going to just quickly do that with my hand. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is take a piece of your Whisper White. And then you're going to want to take your large polka dot embossing folder. And you're going to want to emboss one of your Whisper White pieces of cardstock. In the interest of saving time, I've already embossed the large polka dot using my Big Shot. So you can see, look at that. I love that large polka dot. So beautiful. So now we're going to adhere the large polka dot onto our card using some snail. And I'm going to adhere some more pieces right after I get this set the way I want it. So I'm going to adhere my wonderful border with the balloons, my dazzling details, or dazzling diamonds, excuse me, with some snail adhesive. And I'm going to center this right in the center of my card. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put on my nice border right here using my really thin strips. I'm going to use some nice mono tumble glue, I'm probably saying that a little incorrectly, but I'm going to adhere that down. I like to put that glue on there so that way if it's not perfect, I can kind of mess around with it just a little bit. Notice I'm using the other side of the balloon cherry on top paper, which has a cool pattern and it accents really nicely with the card. I'm leaving just about 1/4 inch on either side. And again, the nice thing about the glue is I can move it just a little bit the way I would like. And then you can see we have our card base. Now what we need to make is our beautiful cupcake. Let's get that cupcake started. So we're going to go ahead and take the scrap piece of paper. Actually, it's not the scrap piece of paper. It's the extra piece of paper from the Delightful Dijon that we cut out with our deco framelit dies. And we're going to use that to stamp our image on using our Delightful Dijon and our cupcake image from Sprinkles of Life. And I'm going to use my paper piercing mat to stamp that on with. Gets a nice image. And I'm going to use my paper snips to cut it out. And I'm going to leave some room at the top of this cupcake topper so that way I can adhere my cake icing topping to this cupcake. There we have it. And we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to stamp the top of our cupcake. We're going to take the Cucumber Crush. We're going to use the cloud stamp. And we're going to adhere that right there. So I'm going to snip some of this excess scrap off to the side here. And I'm going to take my Sprinkles of Life punch set. And I'm going to punch out my cloud. Or my cupcake topper, excuse me. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put some sprinkles on this cupcake. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my Delightful Dijon and my Watermelon Wonder for my sprinkles in the cupcake. Because who doesn't love a cupcake with without sprinkles. And normally I would use my Stampin' scrub to take that ink off of the sprinkles, but it's just a light touch. So there you have the cupcake top. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere the cupcake to my cupcake bottom, the cupcake top to the bottom using the mono glue. And again, this glue is nice because I can play around with it before it sets. And then if I get it where I like it, I'm good to go. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside, and we're going to go ahead and make our happy birthday banner. Now all I did was I took the birthday from my tin of cards, stamped it in some green cucumber crush, and I stamped that right on my scrap piece of paper, like that. Then I took the happy and I used the cucumber crush as well, and I stamped that right below. And then you could use your paper trimmer to go ahead and cut this out. You can use your paper snips. I like to use my large snips for this because I get a nice quick cut and it's a lot straighter, because I'm one of those that if it's this small, sometimes I am just eyeing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to cut out my own quick banner in there because it's so tiny. I'm going to set that aside. Same thing with my happy, because it is happy birthday and it is a happy, beautiful day. And I'm going to cut that with my large paper snips. If you don't have these paper snips, these are a must-have. They cut ribbon beautifully and everything else. I tell my kids to stay away from these scissors. If I find them anywhere, uh-oh. And then there you have it. I'm going to cut that just a little more so I have my cute. Okay, now that I have my happy birthday and my cupcake, my card all ready to go, we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to go ahead and put on the sentiment and my cupcake. I always use the edges of these. Many of you demonstrators have taught me that very well, to make sure we use every part of the Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to put this sideways or on a slant down here below. Let me put that up there so you can see that a little better. And then we put the happy birthday, or the happy, at the top. And then I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals for the cupcake. And then there we go. We have the cupcake card. And if you're one of those that like to do the inside of your card, you can add a little bit more by using the other sheet of Whisper White that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Take your strips that you cut, wrong side, put them on just the edge of your Whisper White cardstock. And then, quick thing that I did was, besides stamping my sentiment, let me stamp the sentiment, I used Cucumber Crush. And I stamped this right in the middle there. Make sure it gets a nice adhesion there. And then I took my sprinkles and I just had fun going down the sides. And it just makes the card. And I went ahead and added some Watermelon Wonder, to the card as well. And then I have a nice inside of my card. Use some snail adhesive. And then you put the snail adhesive, put your inside of, use your piece of paper that you just taped with the snail adhesive, put it on the inside of your card, and there you have it. Uh-oh, I got a little bit of ink there. I'll have to cross that out with some cupcakes. Look at that. Check that out. Beautiful, huh? Be sure to visit my blog and check out my other cool ideas, and I'll have more videos to come. Don't miss out on that first customer special. Thank you for watching. Happy stamping.